Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to HendosHotTopics. I hope you're doing well, hope you're loving yourself, and of course I hope you're having an amazing day. Now, a bit of an introduction before we get into it. Today we are joined by the godfather of New Zealand radio.
Is Al Pacino here?
No, just Roger Farrelly.
Oh, gee, you're too nice. You're too nice.
1991, if you're like me, there was quite some time. We weren't born yet, but 1991, the Rock FM hit New Zealanders' ears on the radio for the first time. 1992, this man here took over the afternoon show, and by 1994, he was on the breakfast show, where he remains to this day.
That's all true.
Still making many people's days enjoyable and bringing smiles on the faces across the country for over 30 years now.
Yeah, it is.
Big dog Roger Farrelly, how's it going, mate?
Hendo, have you? I mean, you've been asking me for a while to be on this podcast, haven't you?
Yeah.
Years?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, it's great to be here.
All honesty, hasn't been that long. Hasn't been that long.
No, probably not.
No,
but there was lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, great to be here. Thank you. I know that's all true.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No false prophecies in there?
No. So next year will be 30 years on breakfast, won't it? Yes, it will. Yeah. So it's all true. But yeah. So I was saying before, wasn't I? So before 91, I was working in Tauranga at another radio station.
Yeah.
This was called Coastline FM. It was the middle of the road type station. It's now More FM.
Yep.
That's when I did my first show when I was 17 and literally said, shit, when something stuffed up. And that was, I thought that was the end of my radio career before it even began.
And that was your first break?
First break.
Yeah.
First break. Midnight, doing midnight till 6, Saturday, so the mid-dawn shift. It's when no one's listening. And they don't really do them anymore. I don't think. Talkback does, but
yeah, that's about it.
Commercial radio doesn't really do it anymore. They just don't pay people to do.
Yeah, they just replay shows.
Replay stuff. Yeah. So I was doing that, and then, first shift, first break. Stuff something up, push buttons, 2 buttons. It's 2 things playing over the top of each other, and I mean at the time, it doesn't mean anything now, but when you're 17, and you're literally packing yourself.
Yeah.
For days, knowing you're going to go on air. And then that happens, which is not a big deal, but at the time, it's the worst thing. I thought I was done, but of course, no one was listening back then. So
what a night that would have been for all the drunken aunties and uncles.
And that
would have been a big drunk trip.
That's literally who was listening. Yeah, you wonder who was listening. Not many.
Cheers to you, Rog.
Yeah, no, not many were listening.
Yeah,
no, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
back then. I mean, it was only Tauranga, so it was only. God, there probably would have been less than 1,000, I reckon.
Yeah.
Which is it's definitely a good thing.
Probably the same number today. Tauranga. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah,
no, not your show. Come on. No, Tauranga.
Yeah, there was 2 radio stations in the city back then.
Yeah.
And so Coastline had just started up, and so that's how I ended up there. So the guy that started, long story short, the guy that started Coastline then left, went to the Rock.
Yeah.
Started the Rock, sorry, and I followed him over like a year later.
Yeah.
And got afternoons essentially.
Yeah.
And then ended up on breakfast. Yeah.
So before we get into the first question, back then we were I'll say today, afternoon shows and morning, they're the prime shows.
Yes.
Was the afternoon show back then the show to be on? Or was it kind of...
It was breakfast. So what they've kind of done now is turned breakfast shows and afternoon shows are the same, really. You've always got people on them. So it was always, you had... So even back then, even if you had 2 people on breakfast, that was a lot. Because some breakfast shows just still had 1, and they might have had 1 and a newsreader. Like a guy and a female newsreader. That was usually the formula. Yep. And then over the years it changed. They got bigger. Some of the Auckland breakfast shows started having 2, 3, 4. We thought that was crazy. But no one would ever have anyone more than 1 on the afternoon show. But then it changed, and then so you just have 1. I did Drive for about a year and a half, just me, and then someone else. It was always just 1 person. Then it was really only became 2 once. Well, for us anyway, when I think I'm right in saying that it was Jono and Ben. Jono and Robert and Jono, sorry.
Yeah.
Robert Taylor and Jono Pryor.
Yeah.
Did Drive together as a twosome. And so that was how it sort of started, really.
Yeah.
And now it's always been 2 or 3. Yeah.
So up until that point, all the shows were pretty much structured like talkback, midnight, graveyard shifts. 1 person.
Yeah, just
talking.
One. Yeah, just 1 person. Yeah, and then you might have had 2 on breakfast. That was when I started breakfast. It was just Nick and myself, Nick Trott.
Yep.
We just 2 of us for 12 years. Then Dooley and Leah came on, so there was 4. That was a lot.
Yep.
That was a lot back then. We even other stations didn't have 4.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got used to 4. Then we had 4. We've still got 4. We've had 3. I feel sometimes you feel 3's not enough because you're so used to 4. And then 2 would be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd get used to it, but it would be weird at the start.
Yeah.
And then, you always had drive. From then on, once you had 2 on drive, then it was always 2 on drive. Then, like, Jono and Ben did drive on the Rock for some time.
Yeah, yeah.
Now Duncan, and it was Duncan and Thane and Dunk. Now it's Jay and Dunk. So it's always been 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a producer. But then we never had producers either when I first started.
You're on your own switchboard, eh?
Yeah, but you never had anyone say, like, in another room, or there wasn't another room.
Yeah.
There wasn't another studio. So you didn't have anyone doing your editing, or you just didn't do editing. You didn't record anything. It was just live. Yeah. Everything was live. Yeah, so you didn't have, or you had no real, if you were to record something, you had like a 2-track reel that you had to record on. Then you had to find someone that was going to edit that. So it was just long process. So yeah, it was always live.
How times have changed, eh?
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
So the first question I always love to ask, just to, break the ice, get straight into it. How is life for you right now, bro? How is life for you?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Is that honest good, or is that a...
It's good in the fact that I'm 50 now.
Yep.
And this has been a terrible year for weather. And not that I'm not, and I think everyone would agree it's been a shit year for weather. So I feel everyone's a little bit down.
Yeah.
And praying that summer's going to be good.
That's just being an Aucklander.
True.
Just living in Auckland,
True. New Zealand is largely quite angry.
Yes.
For numerous reasons.
Yep.
And I'm 50 now, and I'm starting to sort of think what's next, and how much, and it might not be my choice because I've obviously got to be employed by my employer, so it's up to them to decide how long I stay there. I mean, I do want to stay there, but yeah, I'm sort of getting to the point. I'm not willing to leave, but you're starting to think about what's next. So that's my whole year's been sort of thinking. Obviously, hopefully, I can get work. Like, my contract's up, so that's what I'm trying to say. So hopefully, we get signed as a show again. Touch wood. I can't see the reason why we won't, but it's also been. This is no surprise. It's been a tough time in media.
Yep.
All across the board. With job cuts, that's not us, that's everyone. 3, Discovery, 1, Stuff, NZME, they've all, it's not been a great time for media with ad revenue down. So yeah, I'm just at a point in my life where I'm sort of starting to think, what next? So I am good, but I'm also I've sort of been thinking the most this year about what's next. Yeah. Because you can kind of see, well, I'm not going to be there forever. And 10 years ago, I was probably wasn't a problem because I was 40. You're thinking, oh, well, I'm sweet. But then I'm also got to the point, like, my kids are like 18, 22, and they're still at home, but, it makes life a lot different.
Yeah, they're getting older now.
Yeah. So you can always start to think about, oh, what's next? What's the next move?
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking. Yeah. And there's going to have to be a next move. And whether that's at the Rock for a year or 2 more, or somewhere else, or it's just something that's I've been thinking about, something that's going to have to happen. Yeah.
And is that because you've spent this much time now, 30 years, on radio, that you're being ambitious of what else is out there? Time's running up now. Yeah. What else can I do? What else can I try?
Exactly, and you'd be silly not to think that, really.
Yeah.
You'd also be silly to think, oh, I'm just going to be here for the next 5 or 6 years, because you can't just assume that. I'm not assuming that. Yeah. So you've got to think about these things and sort of where you're going and what's next. So, yeah. No, I am good, but there's also things that are, I think there's things are going to change in the not so distant future for me. Yeah. And my family. Yeah.
Has time flown by?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has. It's crazy. It doesn't sound like, how can you talk about 30 years or sum up 30 years? You kind of do it I always sort of look at it in stages, really, because you think, oh, okay, the Rock Hamilton years for 8-9 years, so that was, in my 20s.
Yep.
Great times, like the best. Rock just started. Rock was going great guns everywhere. Really exciting, lead like all the 90s rock revolution, all the 91, 92 on. And then, the move to Auckland, 2000, 99, 2000, really quite tough years.
Yep.
Few sort of 4 or 5 years sort of establishing yourself in Auckland. Then like 2005, 6 when we made Dooley came on, and so that show was us, me, Dooley, Leah, and Nick for a while, and that was quite successful. Then Nick left, and Paul Ego came on. So quite sort of 2004-5 on to about 2012, probably as far as peak rock, as far as ratings go. I wouldn't say peak rock for other things, but as far as our ratings went, it was a golden time. There's like Foo Fighters, Green Day. It was a golden time. And so and then rock hit a snag, and we went up and down. But so then you sort of get to like 2012, 2013 when it's maybe a bit of a struggle. Quite a few lineup changes, but good now. Yeah, so you sort of cemented quite a sturdy, solid lineup. The next sort of since like 2017 on. So it's, now it's really good. Yeah. So you sort of break it down into stages, but it's still 30 years. I don't know how you'd sum it up, but it has gone quick. Yeah.
Now I'm just curious. What you just said before, it's lingering in your mind. If it does come to an end, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Is it hard not to get too comfortable?
Yeah.
Especially after doing that for that long.
Yeah, you could assume, like I said before, that they'll just I'll be there forever.
Yeah.
And I had been through when we moved to Auckland, because when we left Hamilton, we were number one. In Hamilton, so hardly a massive deal, but quite. At the time, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so we got to Auckland, and we were also in all these different markets, like rating our tits off. We were huge. We got to Auckland and just thought, mate, we're just going to nail it here. We'll do Sweet FA, just do what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And we were in Auckland. We thought we were pretty cool. Well, I did. And we didn't. We literally, the show went backwards at a great rate of knots. And Aucklanders didn't give an F about the rock.
Go back to Hamilton.
Go back to Hamilton. Yeah. We've got Hauraki. So yeah, we went through. I was this close to losing my job.
Yeah.
They were going to get rid of us. They actually were going to get rid of the rock. That's how close it got. We weren't rating at all. So we weren't really. So yeah, we got too comfortable. I'd had like 8-9 years of success really, and then went to Auckland and thought it was going to exactly the same thing was going to happen, but it didn't.
Yeah.
And we also started dropping in other parts of the country too. So yeah, we were going to. They wanted to move the Edge up to Auckland. Well, they did. But the Edge didn't have a frequency, so it was either they're going to take our frequency or Channel Z's frequency, and it came down to a pretty tight decision as to what station got the chop. And luckily for me, it was Channel Z. But I was pretty close. Apparently, it was a pretty close thing that we were gone, and so I've been there, man. Too comfortable.
Yeah.
And the end result is you usually end up gone.
If the guillotine went the other way, have you ever thought where you would have gone? Like where would you have been?
And it's terrifying because it's happened, but you don't even know it's going to happen. So tomorrow on the show with Stephen Joyce is coming in, and he used to be our boss.
Yep.
He bought the company off the original owners, and he bought it I think in 94 or 95, and he was going to chop us. I got real close to him chopping us because he didn't think we were good enough. He wanted someone else to come up and do breakfast. But apparently he was so busy organising other things with The Rock, because apparently when he bought it, it wasn't in a great financial state, and he had to sort all this business financial stuff out. And so that's, by the time he got round to firing us, we had improved apparently, so he kept us on. So that was, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So could have been gone then. And if I had gone, I don't know, I would have had to have begged for a job at the opposition, I'd say.
Yeah.
So it was that time, and there was another time in the early 2000s. So we were gone then too. And there's probably other times you don't even know about that people upstairs are going, what's going, what can we do? Can you make a change here? You wouldn't know.
Well, look at today, for example.
What do you know?
Just like that.
Today FM. I know.
Like you don't know.
You don't know. No one knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe someone, but no one. 99% didn't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's probably been cases unbeknownst to me where they've thought, oh well, this we'll phase this show out, or this shows we want to change, and because people and a lot of the managers and the bosses. Well, not my boss, Brad, but and I'm not sort of naming anyone in particular, but they're always on the lookout for new. Oh, that person,
hot stuff.
Yeah. Or that person, they're going well on TV, or they're getting a lot of momentum. Whoever they are, there's so many. Oh, that person would be quite good on that show, or we'll put that person here, or we'll put you and me together, and see how that works. It happens a lot. Sometimes it works. Usually doesn't.
9 times out of 10 it doesn't.
Usually doesn't. No.
But that is, the unknown.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening. So whether it's someone in a sports team or whatever it may, whatever profession it is it's really hard to not get too comfortable because you don't know what's going to happen.
No, and each year, and as you've worked in radio, each year, near the end of the year, there's people it's like people go missing.
Yeah.
It's like there's some sort of, it happens every year. And I mean, and it's happened because of COVID a lot, but it's always happened. Hope it doesn't happen to me. But then they always, if they're going to move someone on or move them to another show or move them somewhere or you're gone, it always happens at sort of the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it's because you've got the 6-week gap over Christmas where people forget and then they come back and someone new's on. So, but and you're right. You wouldn't have a lot of the time you wouldn't have a clue that they're thinking about that.
Yeah.
But as you know, it happens. It happens in all walks of life and media companies. It seems to happen in radio a lot.
Well, mate, you survived 30 years, so that's pretty good.
Just need a few more.
Just a few more, please.
Just need a few
please.
more. A few more years.
Brad, if you're listening, pass on those words. Just a few more. So, mate, let's go right back to the start of Big Dog Roger's life. All right, you're growing up. Yeah.
Yes.
At the time, your future ambitions, if you recall them.
Yeah.
Let's just go into the nitty gritty of it a bit.
So, growing up mainly in Katikati, in the Bay of Plenty. So, I mean, we shifted around a little bit, but I mean, mainly there. Went to school there, primary school there. Left, came back, then went to college the whole way through. So Katikati College, very small town, very country, and looking back, quite very naive to what went on there. Is nothing compared to what went on most places, it seems, from what other people got up to. Pretty tame, just kiwi fruit, avocados, cows. Yeah, that was their real country. Katikati's tiny town. I always liked school. So I think I saw, because we lived literally in the middle of nowhere. I thought it was my dad still lives there, sort of in between sort of Katikati and Tauranga up in the hills. So I never really had a car. So we were in the middle of nowhere. So never really got up to much. So I didn't mind school. I sort of saw school as I love media studies and acting and into production and singing and stuff like that. So I always thought I'd do something around that. Yeah. And so, and I had always wanted to get into radio right from day one when I was like 8, 9. That was always, I just listened to radio all the time and thought, I want to do that. Not really knowing how to get into it. But then, so when my last year at school, that's when this station had started up. Yep, Coastline. So I just ended up knowing a friend of a friend who got me in there, got me in the door to meet this guy called Grant Hislop. So he told me to record. So back then you had to record, like you reading the weather or.
Well, that's still what they do now.
Yeah, reading an ad. Yeah. So I had a little tape deck, and I was like, Bay of Plenty Curtains. For all your curtain needs, phone 07541 444, and you just do all these, or you'd read the weather. Yeah. The weather for Tauranga today, it's going to be cloudy with a high of 22. So I sent this tape in, and he got hold of me, and I said, "Oh, come on, I've got to have a meeting." So I was still at school in my uniform, and so I was so scared of going up to a radio station. I had my mum with me, so mum and I at reception. I'm this 17-year-old kid. 10 kilos lighter than I am now. I was a little weed, and this Grant comes out, looks around at reception, and doesn't sees me, but thinks I'm not me. So he's like, "Where's that guy, Rog? I thought he was here." And the receptionist goes, "He's that school kid." Yeah. So he comes out and goes, "Oh my God, you've got this voice." He heard my voice and thought I was, not this little weedy 17-year-old. So he goes, oh my God, you got quite a deep voice for a little kid. So so he gave me a part-time job straight there. Like you're talking to me now. Yeah, I've got this job for you weekends, and that was it. I was like, Jesus, like literally, you're starting next weekend essentially. So I just left school and I was on air. Yeah, end of that year. Was that end of 1990? I think.
Yeah.
No, it can't have been. End of 91. Sorry. Yeah. Or 92. No, that was at Coastline. Sorry, end of 1990. Sorry. Yeah. Last year at school.
Yeah.
And then like a month or two later, he gave me the full-time job, midnight till 6, doing mid-dawns.
A month later?
Yeah, about a month later.
Wow.
Yeah. $8,000 a year I got.
And that's, for being as young as you were, that's pretty good.
It sounded a lot.
Yeah.
But it was about the dole, I think.
Yeah.
Back then, I think it was about the same as the dole. So I didn't really, I mean, 30 sounded like I remember him telling me once, if you work hard, you earn $30,000 a year. $30,000 a year seemed unachievable.
Yeah.
Actually, working in radio when you were a kid seemed like, how is that going to happen? It seemed unachievable, unattainable. But yeah, $8,000 a year I started on. So it's something like 300 and something a fortnight, or I think, or 380 a fortnight, or something like that. It wasn't a lot. But I was living with my nana, so I boarded with my nana.
Yeah, I've seen that.
In Cretin.
Yeah.
And that's how I just lived with her for about a year and a bit. And just drove into, she lived in town, yeah.
Because you're a big saver, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a bit of a nerd. Because I'd done, because Dad had always done kiwi fruit. Because that's what everyone does in Karikari, is just in the pack houses.
Yep.
So all the kids work in the pack houses, yeah. So I'd done that since I was, 14, 15, 16, 17. Just saved. I had $8,000 saved when I left home, which wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially at that point, a month after getting part-time, again, full-time gig.
Yeah.
Especially with you being, so wowed by that industry, but not knowing how to get into it.
No idea.
That's a hell of an achievement.
Oh, I was buzzing.
Yeah.
I was loving it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, because then it's the hours are shit. I mean, you're young, so it doesn't matter yet. By then I was probably 18.
Yeah.
But after a while, you sleep. You're getting home at 7 or 8 in the morning.
It takes a toll on you.
And it takes a toll. Even at that age,
Yeah.
it takes a toll. So you're sleeping all day. Then you get up, have dinner or whatever, and then you might try and sleep again, because then you're getting up at 10 at night or 10:30 at night to go to work at 12. Yeah, after a while I was like, I can't really do this for much longer.
Yeah.
And then luckily, Grant Hislop, who'd set up Coastline, had with his partner, had started the Rock. So he got me over. I was like, yes, boy, I'm out of here. Yeah. Literally, I was going to do nights.
Yeah.
I did nights for 2 weeks or something, and then I was on drive. So yeah, or afternoons. So I was like, and that was when I was like, you little beauty.
This is
This is the life.
Yeah.
You little beauty.
Grant, get on your knees. Thank you, mate.
Mate, thank you.
Yeah.
I know. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then the Rock, the Rock exploded, and I was there right in the thick of it, doing afternoons.
Yep.
I was 21 or something.
Yep.
You just get on the piss, get up at 11 o'clock, go to work, because I didn't have to start till 3 till 7. Best hours. I did that for like a year and a half or something.
Getting a bit of mischief with those hours?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's fantastic hours. It's the best. It's the best show to do. It probably doesn't pay the most. Yeah. But it's the best show. I think it is. Not that breakfast is good too. But as far as hours go, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, it was going to be one of my statements, questions later on, but that's the thing people don't see is they turn on the radio in the morning on their commute, and they just hear you guys yabbering on in the morning, but they don't see those early morning wake ups and having to prep an hour or so before the night before. And there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, because you used you used to work there, so it's just constant. I think you just can't. It's like you just can't go one day. Oh fuck, I'm not going to do any work today. Yeah, you know what I mean. It'd be easy too. Yeah. Easy-ish. Well, yeah. You could go, oh, fuck, I'm just not going to do anything today. I'm too tired. Or, you know what I mean? Get home, just go, get to 10 o'clock and just go home. That'd be easy. Just, man, I'm tired. I'll just go home. But I find what I do is every day. You just got to do. You work a day ahead. You do your prep. Like I've done most of it. You just get your prep done. You know what you're doing the next day. We've got the Rock 2000 on at the moment, so you got to do a bit more stuff. But I find, I always try and be as organised as I can. I got into a system. I didn't used to be like that, but I got taught by this guy called Ryan Rathbone, did a lot of work with us sort of a few years ago, and he sort of taught me how to. I should have known by then, really, but he really just sort of sat me down. You just got to be organised every break, and I just find that's. If I do that, I find I'm like pretty sweet. I like right, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I know it's going to be on the show. It'll probably change. Things change all the time, but predominantly I know what we're doing here for 3 hours or 4 hours, and then otherwise if I'm not that prepared and I don't really know what's going on, I still get a little bit anxious. I just know. Because being the anchor, it starts
You're the
with you.
director.
So, it starts with you, ends with you usually. So you got to know what's going on. So I always find that system, I just get into a system of just, then after the show, just getting it all done as soon as I can. And even then you might do some more work to it, like say tonight.
Yeah.
Whatever, things might change, things might happen. But so it's just a system I've got myself into over the years.
And also having a system like that, you know what's going to come up.
Yeah.
But even if something unplanned comes up, because you've everything else planned, you don't have to stress about it.
That's right. Yeah. So then if you can be quite so planned that it just sounds spontaneous.
Yeah.
But it's not. But it'll sound it because you're quite organised. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's when you but you're not taught that. So I was never taught that when you start. So you're literally throwing in at the deep end, and just away you go, and then ripped apart when it's shit.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What the fuck are you? What were you doing?
True to that.
Like those early air checks when you'd literally had done a week of breakfast shows. Then they used to listen. You had to sit in an office like this, and then boss would sit you down and put the tape on.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than listening to yourself when you know you've fucked it up anyway. And it's the voice break's gone on for too long, or it's just been shit, or the caller was shit, or something was shit, and it's just like, oh no, this is the worst. And then they just like, this is a fucking shit show today. Better improve tomorrow. Then you just walk out of there. It's like, oh god, this is so hard.
I can just picture you sitting next to your boss.
Yeah,
scratching like a crack addict, just like
you've
known a mistake's happening.
I know,
and
you know it's
like
coming.
This, you're waiting, just sitting there. Come on, give it to me.
I know, and it's just like you and me here, and you just be sitting there with your head down, waiting, and it's just like, and they'll just stop it, stop the tape, or even worse, they get in like a consultant from overseas who knew nothing about. I mean, they may have been good in LA. Or wherever they came from, but they knew nothing about New Zealand radio, didn't understand it, and they just stopped the tape. What were you thinking about in that break? Tell us what was going on in that voice break. And it's like, oh man, this is just killer. This is the worst. This is the worst. This is the worst. I've heard of program directors, they were called at the time. I don't think it didn't even happen to me. Nearly did. When they'd literally get the tape out of the cassette thing and just throw it at the announcer. They were so angry
during the show.
After the show, you'd have an air check, and you'd go through today's show, whatever.
Yep.
Get it out and just biff it at the breakfast jock because it was so shit.
Holy shit!
I mean, that'd be like, oh fuck. But yeah, it was pretty it was quite brutal. It wouldn't never happen now. It was quite brutal back then because I was even when I was doing Drive, I was with all these guys who I was always the youngest at the station. I was a kid. All these guys that were like, big egos, confident, just giving it to you the whole time. It was probably good, probably toughen you up in a way. Don't know. You got a little bit scared of them because you'd never know if they were been listening or what they thought. After a while, though, it was all right after you'd been doing it a while.
Well, sometimes they were almost, like an apprentice on the tradie side.
I was the apprentice.
They were testing you to see if you'd crumble or not.
Yeah, I think so. Because I was really the apprentice. I mean, I remember even when I was doing drive, I was 19. All these guys, and they seemed older. Well, some of them were, but they probably weren't that much older than me, but they seemed it when you're 18, 19. So, a little bit bit more worldly. Not like, copywriters and program directors and sales reps and quite confident. And you're this little, hi, this little kid that's come from Tauranga. Because it was, Rog, he's 18 or something, or 19. He used to live with his nana. And he's come over from Tauranga, and he's bang in Hamilton. And so, I was quite naive, really. Yeah. Pretty naive. And I came from Katikati, so I wasn't even a city kid. So, yeah. So, they definitely test you. Yeah. But
that would be, obviously, the pranks that go on with you boys. That would be a bloody good prank to do on Bryce and Miles. It's just rock up there and act like how the boys used to do back in your day to you.
Yeah.
And just go ape shit.
Yeah,
and they wouldn't know how to react.
Bryce will tell you that I did it to him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And not just me, but yeah.
Yeah?
So then the tables turned a bit, because when I was breakfast, I've been doing it for a while, when I moved up to Auckland. So, I've been doing it, a while, 6-7 years, I suppose. Early 2000s. This is when Bryce started and Jono started, and then Duncan started a bit later on, and we had all these... it was the age of jackass, so I was the bully then.
Yeah.
I was the instigator of all these, making them do all this stuff on air.
Yeah.
So, all that, like, Bryce was like, he goes, oh, mate, I was just your bitch for a little bit. Like, we used to...
You're like, yes, you were.
We had this phase where we'd try and make him break Guinness World Records.
Yeah.
So one of them, he used to hate it. Because he'd like maybe party all night, then we'd ring him. Where are you? You need to be on air. We're getting you to do all this stuff. So one of them was we tried to make him break the world potato pushing record with your nose.
What was the real?
Yeah, the record was unobtainable. So he was on Ponsonby Road, down his hands and knees. No, I don't think any like gloves. No protection on his knees. And Dooley was like, because Dooley's an ex-cricketer, right?
Yeah.
Mentally sharp. He'd just give it to you.
Yeah.
Go in. And so Bryce is on his hands and knees, pushing a potato with his nose. pushing a potato like a dog with his nose down Ponsonby Road. Like, and not doing a great job.
Yeah.
And we're just on here. He's got to be doing better. He's not going to break the record. He's got to be quicker. He hated that. There was another one, the record for catching a grape from the furthest distance thrown.
Yeah.
So Bryce was getting peppered with grapes in the park, and he couldn't catch them. And the worst one, we had to try and get as many golf balls out of the pond in a certain amount of time. So it was a real freezing morning. We made Bryce jump in this freezing cold golf pond in a golf course and try and retrieve as many golf balls as he could. But he didn't do that either. So the tables turned a bit. And all the stuff we did to Jono over the years, do stuff to Jono.
Yeah.
Some of this crazy stuff. Then, he if it didn't go your way, he could have died. Some of them, one of them in particular, some of them were quite outrageous. If he just had landed wrong in some of them, he could have bloody paralyzed himself.
Yeah.
But we made him. Was when the America's Cup was on, and we made him. Found us the old America's Cup boats they used to, the 90s ones they used to use around the Vada.
Yep.
So we made him climb 16 metres up the top of the mast and jump off. Like it was 16 metres. And he lands wrong, it's all over, really.
Content.
There's a lot of people, And it was such a shitty time. It wasn't like we were filming with state-of-the-art gear. It was just someone on a phone.
So you couldn't even see it.
Couldn't even see it. And if you were lucky, someone filmed it, or they missed the shot. So we just had a website back then, no social media. And so we oh, man, please tell me you got this photo.
Yeah.
Oh no, I missed it. I didn't get the camera ready in time. So there's all these idiots who just stuffed it up all the time. But you had someone on a phone. Yeah. Has he jumped? Because he couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Hang on. 3, 2, 1. And then you just hear this plop. Did he do it? Yeah, he's done it. But when you, it sounded terrible, but when you were there, 16 metres. Then another time, probably there was a massive storm in the Foveaux Strait. So we wanted to try and send, on a fine day it might have worked, on a tractor tyre, like a blown up tube.
Yeah.
We're going to tow him from Bluff to Stewart Island across the Foveaux Strait. We've been setting this up for weeks, so we had to do it. We couldn't pull out. But of course, the day he gets there, the morning, it's the worst weather. They were like, "Oh, we shouldn't be going out." No, it's too late. We've organised. We've spent money to fly him there, so we got to do it, and we can't go tomorrow because it was a Friday, so we couldn't. He's not going to stay there the whole weekend. So honestly, the weather was horrific. We had really no idea how bad it was. So he's on the boat, heading out, complaining, "I don't really want to do it. The waves are quite high." And Ricardo was there, "Mate, it's quite bad. We shouldn't be." And I'm like, "No, fucking throw him over. We've got to do it." So he's on this tiny little tractor tyre, throwing, and the waves, and there's sharks. It's real dangerous stuff. And the weather was horrific. And he was on this little tractor tyre, clinging on and getting absolutely pummeled by these waves. And they had to stop it. The weather got so bad. So we were gutted that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But then I saw a photo. They actually got a photo. It was like he looks like a tiny little lifesaver. You know those lollies?
Yeah.
That was the colour of the
Is it because he's that pale?
And because he's that tiny up against these massive waves.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh man, that could have gone horribly wrong if he had fallen off, or that rope had broken, or he got real close. That was like madness. Just stupid.
Fuck.
Yeah. We'd tow him through, we'd set hay bales on fire.
Yeah.
And tow him through them on a car bonnet. We'd just literally go through these burning hay bales. Yeah.
So you guys are the reason insurance is so expensive now. Holy shit.
But it's a wonder he didn't really ever injure himself. Not really ever badly. No.
That makes you think how much of a fraud Jackass is, eh? They're getting injured all the time. And John O'Pryor over here.
Yeah, it was around always the same era. And you'd try and copy it. Each time you try and do something worse.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's lame. That was lame. So, yeah, the poor guy. He did that to him for years.
How much do you think you'd have to pay Bryce to get on his hands and knees again and push a potato down Ponsonby Road?
He even hates me talking about it. He was so fucked off that we made him do it.
The bounces on Ponsonby Road. Hey, you were here about 3 hours ago.
I know. Yeah, pushing a potato down the road with his nose. The actual record is outrageous. You can't believe how he did a mile and I don't know. It's minutes. It's insane. So we thought, we'll do that. Yeah, it was all just cowboy stuff, eh? Back then. It's what are we doing? What are we doing? It was usually the day before, like Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, what are we doing tomorrow? Nothing planned. Oh, fuck. What are we going to do? Oh, yeah, we'll do this.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah. Nothing planned.
Health and safety would have a field trip these days.
Man,
eh?
we see, this is
It's
the thing.
insane.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You can't do that stuff.
No. And even if you try, you have to fill out so many forms. Yeah, half the time, we don't even try. You'd never get it across the road.
Yeah.
Across the board. No.
I think it came up on your guys' socials the other day as like a memory. One of the best pranks in terms of reactions would have had to have been the old rock through the window of your Vitz.
Yeah, man, that was like 5 years ago.
That reaction, I kid you not, I watched that.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I was taking a dump. I watched that probably, got honesty here,
Mate,
you know what I mean?
They literally took a dump in my car by throwing a shot put through it.
Yeah. I love how, Bryce has got that mischievous laugh, and as you're running down, he's like, oh, he's coming.
I know.
Oh, he's here. Oh.
I know. And it was like, surely not.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah.
Surely not. We were actually going to throw it through Ryan's car.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, mine was probably better to do mine, really. But yeah, I mean, I was angry that day. I don't know, they'll probably say I'm lying. I don't often get angry, but I was quite angry that day.
Is that, if I remember, that's because your daughter had to use it that day, eh?
Yeah, she did, I think. Yeah, I needed it. I needed it. And then it was like, okay, it was one thing that it was smashed, but then the handbrake was fucked.
Oh, did it hit the handbrake?
You had the handbrake. So the handbrake was jammed on. So I had to leave it at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just borrowed Rock Ute for the weekend. So yeah, I was just like, I don't know, it was more of a inconveniencing in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, they're coming to fix it, but they didn't until days later, and then the handbrake was done, and then it was like, oh. But then they also, like, apparently 11 years ago is the anniversary of when they dropped my Primera.
Yeah.
Yeah. From a crane. That was a bit of a shock.
That would be worth some money.
Yeah.
If it was in good condition, that would be pretty good some money.
Yeah, it wasn't like a $2,000 car.
Yeah.
Nah. So they've done was, you think back, you forget all these things, eh? Yeah.
Mate, so on the show, mental health is it's a greatly normalised topic on the show, which a lot of people like myself who are trying to break stigmas around it appreciate.
Yeah.
For yourself, it makes me interested. What are some challenges you've had to overcome, or what's something you didn't think you could overcome, but you did?
Yeah. So I ended up going to, when was the first time? I have actually been to counselling off and on for about, I think 3-4 times I was only until, lockdown was the time. Yeah. And I thought I was just, not the first one, the second one when it was like 100 days. And every day was, and we were going to work, which was great, but no one else was. And it was just starting to really grind me down. And I think it's probably grinding a lot of people down. So, I mean, I didn't think lockdown would ever end. So, I went to counselling that time. And that certainly helped. But then I would also, there were times before that when my kids were born, when my first Olivia was born, I think I had some sort of epiphany moment where it was like, because I never really got on with my dad, and I haven't spoken to him since 2017 because of shit that's gone on.
Yeah.
So that's when I sort of had this I was a dad, and it was like, oh, this is, you don't know any different. You go from what your dad does, and then you go, oh, I'm a dad now, and so I was, I went then. I've just been through phases. This is a very long answer to your question.
That's right.
I've just had phases over the years where I have sort of hit low points.
Yep.
And then blown out, like drunk too much or done something stupid.
Yep.
Well, not that stupid, but just usually drunk too much. Got angry, blown out, and then just gone, fuck, why am I doing this?
Yep.
And then have gone to counselling because of that over the 3-4 times over the years. Yep. I've done it. What did I think I could never get out of? It's always related to probably my dad, and if I feel work's not going well. I mean, I'm very lucky. I got a lovely wife, family, and it's not as if I've ever really had any marriage problems, although I've probably put our marriage in problem mode. Sticky situations.
Yep.
It's me more just by being a dick. But it's always usually something's going on, or it's work, or work's really bad. And it's not that now, but it has been. It's when I've been on a show that I literally didn't want to be there.
Yep.
Because of what was going on the show and people that were on it. And some people just sort of don't care. They just, wash it off. But because I started the show, so it's always, I always sort of feel as though it's my responsibility that the show has to be to a certain level. And when you sort of feel it's not, and this is not now, this is in the years previous. There's been a few times actually when, it's just been really, it's hard. You find it hard to get up and go to work because you've got to be happy. You've got to make it work. And you feel as though the people you're with don't give a fuck or don't really want to be there as much as you. So I always find that there's been that's the times when I've thought, oh, how am I going to get out of this? How's this going to improve? And so, but then, people leave and things improve. So, but it can be a long process.
Yep.
Of just sort of getting darker and darker and deeper into a hole when you've just got to change. I think you also too you don't really reach out either. You just get deeper and deeper and just think, oh,
I can work it out myself.
Work it out. Yeah. And so and over the years, it's been great to sort of finally break that barrier and just talk to a boss or a big boss or a counsellor. And because even you don't even tell your wife half the time, it could be, if I've been going through some shit at work, sometimes I don't even tell her until you get to a point, could be weeks, months later, when you finally just spill it all out. And then it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah.
Well, the problem doesn't seem as bad.
I'm interested in that, young couples, older couples, because me, myself, when I'm going through something, I'm the same. I don't often tell my partner until it gets to the end.
Yeah.
And I usually don't because I don't want to bring that onto her.
Yeah.
Are you the same? Is that kind of the reason?
Yeah, and I'm also terrible at largely terrible at, she can come home and talk to me about 5 things that have happened to her in the day that have maybe annoyed her or pissed her off or have been good. She's just so good at just, this person said this or whatever. Or A, good or B, bad. So she's very good at sharing her day with me. And she's just like, how was your day? I'm like, oh, yeah, it was a good show. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, we might have talked to so-and-so.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of the sum of my parts of, sharing with her. So I'm actually quite terrible largely at sharing how I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I kind of it all needs to stew with me for a bit. And then it's finally, right, that's it. I mean, and then it all just comes out weeks later where it's, she's very good at sort of sharing stuff that happens every day. And I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe the same, you wait. You just don't talk about it. Yeah.
Well, you do let it stew. You go, is it worth talking about it? Is it that much of a big problem?
Is it that big a deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it that big a deal?
Yeah, or is it just me overreacting?
Because, you can't. Otherwise, you'd overreact to everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, this listener sent us a nasty text today.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Who cares? That would upset some people.
Yeah.
Or some people said they think I'm suck. They think I suck.
Yeah.
But when you've been in it a long time, that doesn't worry you. It might worry you at the start.
Yeah.
I was probably lucky that we never had social media when we started.
There wouldn't have been text machines back when you started as well, eh?
Not even text machine, no.
Ins.
Just phones,
Yeah.
And a fax machine.
So they had to tell you to your face.
Yeah. Because that was, that might have destroyed us if we were starting and you had a Facebook page. Luckily, we never did. So imagine at 19, 20, getting all that feedback in, and it probably wouldn't have been good.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been great. So we're lucky we never had to put up with that.
Well, it's crazy now starting out and, you do something minute wrong.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you got 20 random people grilling you for it.
Yeah. It's how you react to that too.
100%. Yeah. It's that whole make it or break you sort of thing.
Yeah. The whole thing is not to worry.
Yeah. Is your wife one to know when you're bullshitting? Like she can tell when something's wrong?
Yes. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. No, I'm not quite myself.
Yeah.
But quieter, inward. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Same with her though.
Yep.
But it's been this year's been fine. Yeah. Largely, yeah. But everyone thinks differently, Everyone probably thinks that. And anyone, you think, he's doing breakfast, or anyone on a radio show, they seem happy, or you see them in the kitchen. Not even people you work with, other radio stations.
Yeah.
I might meet you and go, they seem happy, and you never really know what's going on.
It's all a mask.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is whether it is if someone asks you, like your partner, and you go, traffic was shit, but work was all good today.
Yeah.
Or someone sees you like, I'm doing well, mate.
Yeah.
It's just to redirect them. So you don't have to actually bloody share.
Yeah. Otherwise, what do you want to? So and so fucked me off today. Or
Yeah.
No one does that usually.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm alright, bro. How are you?
Yeah.
I'm alright. Oh, yeah, cool. See you later.
And then it's
Yeah. How long till the blowing point? How long does it build up into like, okay, no, I'm gonna go talk to someone, or had enough
I
of
think
this
it's months. Maybe not. Maybe months.
Wow.
Well, not that long. Maybe sometimes. Maybe at the start. Early days, months.
Yep.
Not so long now. You sort of learn now that you better just get it sorted.
Yep.
Within a few weeks.
Yep.
Weeks can go by.
Yep.
It was sort of Yeah, I mean, earlier on it was longer than that, though.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just sort of wondering how you're going to get out of a situation. But now it's better. I think once you've been through once, you learn second time, third time.
Yeah.
So not as long now, no.
All the trials and tribulations, just prepare you.
Yeah. And also early days is when it was like my daughter had been born. And that's new. That's all of a sudden it's like, oh wow. We'd moved to Auckland, bought a house, had Olivia. Our ratings were terrible. I might have lost my job. It was a stressful time. I think that was kind of the first time I really was a cry out for help.
Yeah. That's a lot to take on in the scheme of things around the same time.
Yeah, all around the same time, yeah.
That's a lot.
It's nearly always like that.
Everything comes at once,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always like that. It seems to be. There's never one or two. It's like a cluster, of stuff.
Well, they always say, things come in threes.
It's a worry when they say, It's either a cluster or things are sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shit thing as well, because when things are sweet, you're kind of, you're thinking,
what's next?
Yeah. When is the bad stuff going to come?
Yeah. Well, what's next?
Yeah.
But just keep your head down.
Yeah.
But it's been pretty good. It's been so touch wood. It's been pretty good.
A few more years.
I haven't had the dramatic highs and lows.
Yeah.
Like I've never been fired. I've never had to be on my ass. I've never had to pray or beg for a job. I'm lucky. It's been pretty steady.
Yeah,
it's been good.
That's the thing, though. You don't have to go through the dramatic highs and lows. If you're stressing, you're going through shit.
Yeah. It's as I was saying before, it's always like you're always thinking about it. Not that I'm stressed about it, but there's always like, okay, there's always the next day.
Yeah.
What's next? What's tomorrow's show?
Yeah.
It's always with you.
Their schedule must help some way,
Really does.
Yeah.
Really does.
Mate, now I want you to tell us about some of them listening may know the story, some may not. The story about your wife's wedding ring.
Oh yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah, that's pretty true. So I did it. So I proposed to her.
Yep.
I had planned to do that, but I wasn't going to buy a ring because I didn't want to go ring shopping before. So I wanted to surprise her, and so no, I didn't have a ring.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we went shopping for a ring, and we did get a deal.
2 for 1.
2 for 1. Pretty much 2 for 1 deal at Michael Hill. And my mate, still my mate, Greg, at the time, was second in charge, third in charge at Michael Hill. He was quite high up, and so he got us a deal. It was all pretty much true. Yeah.
And let's be real here. Was there no ring because you were sacking your shit? You're like, okay, what if she says no and I've spent this money? Or was it, I'll surprise her and she can choose it herself?
This confidently, I thought she'd say yes.
Okay.
Well, it sounds too confident, doesn't it?
Well, that's what we tell ourselves. We love that. You know what I mean?
You got to. I mean, I know there's a lot of guys who think the lady's going to say yes, and they say no, and they seem to do it in half time at a basketball game or something, or an ice hockey game.
The kiss cam.
And they come out and get them on the court. Obviously, they're all confident.
Yeah.
Or every guy probably thinks she's going to say yes. I mean, I did. I had a reason to think that. Okay, because we already had 2 kids.
That helps. That does help.
So I did everything backwards.
2 kids, 2 rings.
So yeah. So I had 2 kids. Already had 2 kids and a house.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I was pretty confident she was going to say yes. Otherwise, if she said no, well, she's going to leave me with the 2 kids.
She's going to keep the house,
or keep the house, or say no and kick me out. So yeah, I was, yeah. We had the kids. She kind of had to say yes, really, didn't she?
She was trapped.
Kind of, yeah. So we'd been together 10 years.
Okay,
so I was kind of like,
the time's are right.
She's had ample chances to leave me in 10 years. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. So I thought, oh, well, yeah. Then everyone goes, did you ask your dad's permission? I said, no.
Did you not?
No. Not after 10 years together.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
she
that
phoned
is
her
a fair
dad.
point.
She phoned her dad and said, "Oh, I'm just engaged." He goes, "Well, geez, it's about time." So I was very slow off the mark. I had years to do it, but I waited 10 years.
But hey, you got to make sure she's the one. You have to make sure. And
Yeah.
you got a 2-for-1 deal.
Who
doesn't love a
it all
deal?
worked out.
Yeah.
I think it all worked out. Yeah.
If you did
yeah.
it the next week, that sale might have not been there.
Well, I know, and if I'd done it too earlier, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bloody love that.
So that's all pretty much all true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we got a fan question,
Mhm.
and it was, it was, do you reminisce and do you, sometimes miss the Nick and Rog days?
I'm. Yes and no. No,
Yeah.
not really. No, I miss the times.
Yeah,
You know,
okay, gotcha.
you're in your 20s. It's usually most people's 20s are a pretty cool time.
Yeah.
You're young, obviously.
Exciting.
Yep. The Rock was exciting. Working there was exciting. It was just a great time to be at a radio station. That was, it was just the right place, right time. My God, you couldn't have planned a better time to start a radio station. You couldn't have planned a better time to start a radio station, a rock radio station.
Yep.
Like 91, 92, my God, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and all the other rock. It was just perfect timing, and I was there for it. And it was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And my radio, so I'd gone from doing mid-dawns to breakfast, essentially, and everything that went with that. So it was all pretty cool, and man, we worked, though. We were busy. Like, promotions all the time at the pubs. I mean, it was great.
Oh,
It was great. Who doesn't love it? It was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Hosting bikini comps,
Yeah.
just pubs, drinking,
Getting paid for it.
Getting paid for it.
Yep.
Hamilton, 8 years of that, pretty much. It was a good ride. It was a good ride.
Yep.
The shows were a bit ropey, largely. I think we got better, but the first few years it was pretty ropey.
Yeah.
It was the Hamilton listeners were very forgiving. It got better near the end. We were pretty good. I'd say we could make it work. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, do I? Yeah.
Don't think about the past.
I don't really miss those years as far as being on air. No, it was pretty hard.
Yep.
You're trying to. Yeah, it's pretty hard. It got better. I think it got better on air. Definitely. It got better.
Yep. Cool. Mate, when did you realise, or have you come to yet realise, that your voice is one of the, if not the most recognisable ones on the radio?
It's funny because I don't even really think about it, but I get it. I still get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even at the pub the other night, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know if he knew who I was. I was just yarning to my mate like I'm yarning to you now.
Yeah.
And the owner of the bar goes, "Oh yeah, mate, I recognise your voice." Still happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one of the most things said to you?
It used to be then it was once the cameras got in the studios, then it was they just recognise you because if they see you on Facebook or Instagram, straight away.
Yeah.
So you're there every day, really.
Yeah.
But it always was. Before that, no one really knew. You could actually, you could be a radio announcer for years and no one knew what you looked like unless your photo was in the paper because there's no real promotion.
Yeah.
This is, the 80s. No one knew what you looked like. It was just based on, they might do an ad.
Yeah.
I remember seeing, you might see ads for like a radio station. They had a lineup of the announcers. You go, oh my God, there's no way they look like that. You always have a picture in your mind of what they look like. I still do.
Yeah,
it's like, no
yeah.
way do they look like that.
Yeah.
And that was all we had. It was, they'd never know what you look like. And so it was always the voice. Well, yeah, they just recognise your voice a lot of the time.
If that could be held as now, no cameras in the studio, would you prefer it that way? Or do you
I don't
enjoy
mind.
the interaction?
I love it. I don't mind it. It had to
Yeah.
go that way, I think. Some people hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it. Yeah, some of the older ones were like, no, I'm not. That's not it. Not. I don't. I forget they're in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a big deal for a week. Then I've forgotten that one's there now. You just forget.
Yeah.
You forget they're in there. So no, I don't mind that at all. It's where it had to go, I think.
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't really. I mean, the fact that I don't like looking at myself and my massive forehead, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, from a radio show point of view, I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way they can edit them up and everything. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm real curious now. You know, you hear a lot of Johnny Depp, for example. I think it was either Johnny Depp or Jim Carrey. They've never watched a movie that they've been in themselves.
Yeah, who was it? Yeah.
I think it was Johnny Depp.
Right. Yes. Is that right?
Yeah, when you hear your voice on the radio, you know, do you enjoy listening to your own voice?
Yeah, well, so I don't mind if it's like quick, like
Gotcha.
if it's part of like if it's an ad, or if it's a break, like a 30 or 40 second break that they've used as a promotion. That's all right. I don't mind that. But if I have to sit down and listen to it, say if I had to listen to it for half an hour doing a show, I'll be like, oh, nah, I don't. Oh, I'd be off that. Yeah. It's all of a sudden starts to get grate a bit on me.
Gotcha.
So if it has any length of time, if you're listening back to a show that, because you already know what's happening in the break, you've done it, so then you have to listen to it, and it might go on too long, and it's just I'm laughing too much, or I'm not liking it, or any great length of time, I'm quite off it. I'm quite off it. Short bursts, it's fine. Any great length of time, I'm like, oh no, turn it off, turn me off. I hate it. Because there's still part of you that thinks you don't sound like that. Even though you do.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But everyone else, that's how they sound. But you listen to yourself go, maybe I don't sound like that. But you do. You hear your voice differently. Yeah. But so near, you're willing to try and turn it off after 10, 15
Why is it not
minutes.
going down?
Yeah, going down. Fade it down. Especially when you hear old shows. If you've got an old, like somehow some recording has popped up from a show in, I don't know, 2002. Yeah. Oh, that's horrific. That is horrific, listening to a show of yourself back then. You go, oh my God, turn it off. You sound different. You sound squeaky, or it's awful, or it's just you're just talking shit. Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's the worst, be your worst nightmare. Yeah. Worst nightmare to have to listen to a show. Back then.
What would you say Roger's moneymaker is?
Oh, my laughs probably helped over the years. I'd say. Yeah, laughed.
Quite a seductive laugh.
Got through, yeah. Fills in the gaps sometimes, otherwise it's dead air. Yeah. Dead air's not good. See, always wanted to get into radio, but never, my voice was squeaky as hell. I was 15, it was as high as anyone's, and it didn't really, I was like 16 before it broke. Yeah. So, very late developer, but then it just went boom, and just went from to this. Yep. Well, I mean, I think voices get deeper over years, definitely. As they just like everything, it gets older, doesn't it? Matures, you use it more. So yeah, the voice. I mean, back then, everyone like, you can't get into radio unless you got a voice. That was it. Yeah. Now it doesn't matter.
Sort of like news reporters, eh? Yeah. They all sound the same.
Yeah.
That's how it used to
sound.
They
all sound the same. Yeah, they do. They still all sound the same a lot of the time. Yeah. Yeah, but then a lot of people on air can sound the same if you're all sort of talking deep and introducing songs.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's, they all sound the same. But that was the thing back then. You have to have a great voice. And then when I wanted to get into radio, my voice was like Mickey Mouse's. So I was going, oh, I'm screwed. How am I going to get into radio? But then luckily, it just happened. It really just happened. Yeah. Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason for it. They don't run in the family. It's not like any of my family had deep voices or anything. I don't know where it came from. I'm glad it did.
Yeah. Wait, now, 1-2 years is enough for some people in professions. 30 years, obviously, since you were younger, this is what you wanted to do. Yeah. But as the years went on, what helped you keep ticking? What was that fuel to the fire?
It got better. We had some quite highs. We had some wins. Yep. And it was a show that, I had a lot of lineups, but it was me and Dooley and Paul Ego and Leah there for a bit. Yep. I enjoyed that was good. Just different people. We were rating quite well. Yep. So had some highs. So when you're winning, why would you want to leave, really? Yeah.
That's a good point.
Good. So and then rock kind of went off a cliff a bit, and the whole show changed. So you were sort of starting again. So that was building, but I was always enjoying it for most of the time. So if you enjoy it, and then a few more, over the years, I guess there's been enough success So you're enjoying enjoying who you're working with. That's key.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you won't have a show.
Yeah.
So you're enjoying that. You're enjoying each other's company. You're going well. You know you're having a good show. You know things are going well. You're rating all right. And the outcomes of that are you want to stay.
Yeah.
It's when the opposite happens that you might want to go, geez, things aren't going so well. So I think I've had enough wins over the years and awards and nominations, and that's not what you do it for, but
it's nice as well.
It's nice, yeah. And then you get to 20 years, 25, 30. So, yeah, I mean, and the audience has always largely been there, followed us through. So that's another reason you need your ratings need to be pretty steady. You've got to keep them. You might not. We're certainly not the highs we were back in the mid 2000s, or not in Auckland anyway. But yeah, I mean, there's always been enough moments where you've gone, yeah, this is good. Let's keep on going.
Yep.
So that explains it. Yeah.
Well, what a bloody career it's been, mate.
Hopefully not over yet.
Few more years. Now, before I ask you the last question, before we wrap it up, I said to you before we started, there's a video that came up where Bryce tested you on some words.
Oh God.
And I thought, let's see if Roger's gone away and he's done his ABCs and he's come away with a. Let's just see if you can speak and say the words. All right.
This is all cooking phrases, eh? Cooking words.
Yep. All
not
cooking
my
words.
strength.
And we have learned that. So
I'm an absolute food bogan. My parents were food bogans too. Yeah. I hadn't eaten a mussel until I was about 23.
I've beat you there. A few months ago.
No.
It's taken me 20 years, only a few months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I literally, my seafood, in my family didn't exist. Fish and chips, that was it.
Yeah.
No prawns, no mussels, no oysters.
What's your order when you go to a fish and chip shop?
I'm just boring, man. Like, because I'm a food bogan. It's just like literally hokey.
Crumbed or battered?
Battered.
Oh my God.
I'm a shocker. I'm an absolute shocker.
Crab sticks? Yes or no?
No. Sometimes a battered sausage. Love sausages.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm an absolute bogan. I had the other night, fish and chips the other night. I think it was, whether it was hokey, I think. Battered hokey. Don't mind it.
One hour special? Don't care. Give me hokey.
Care. Just whatever.
Yeah. Cheeseburger or hamburger?
Ham. I will just eat to I largely just eat because I have to. Like, I'm not a guy who's going to spend hours putting something together.
Yeah.
That'd be my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Even if sometimes I have to cook dinner. I'm like, how long is it going to take? 40 minutes. Fuck, that's so long. It's far too long. And I get angry that it takes 40 minutes to get a dinner together. I'm an absolute food bogan.
Yeah, cooking's funny, eh? Like, sometimes my mum will spend the afternoon making a roast, and then it's gone in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And she looks defeated. I'm like, all right.
I know. You spend all this time, and it's like 50 minutes to cook. Oh, we won't be eating till 7:30. So long. So, yeah, that's me. And this is why I don't know how to pronounce any food.
Funny good.
All right.
So if you're watching this, I'll put it up on the screen now.
Oh, okay.
But we've got, for the viewers at home, I've got on my phone here for you, Rog.
Right.
But we've got 3 words, right? And the last word is one that my partner gives me grief about because I can never pronounce it. Okay.
Yeah.
First word.
Oh, now they had this. They gave me this.
Yes, they did.
They gave me this one, eh? Is it, cacao? It's not, is it? What is it? I knew it. They gave me this on air and I stuffed it up then. It's, no, cocoa? No, what is it? It's not cacao, is it? What is it? As soon as you tell me, I'll know.
If I'm right, cocoa.
Yeah. What is it?
I think it's all right.
Do you know what it is?
No.
No, nor do I.
Does it matter? No.
I don't think I've ever used it. Cacao?
I'm going to search it up now.
Yeah. What is it? I'm such a food. Everyone will know this apart from me and you.
Okay. What is it? Oh, it's what they used to make chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, next word.
Yeah.
Let me hide the third one. Next word. Now, this is another one you got given. And
prosciutto.
Okay.
Prosciutto?
Yep.
Prosciutto?
Done well there.
Bubbles?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't mind
a bit of
a
bubbles.
bit of prosciutto. Prosciutto. Camembert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, I can't get that.
You can't?
I don't know why. I say Camembert.
Camembert. I think a lot of people would.
I think that's just the dumb of me because it says Camembert.
Yeah, I'd see. That wasn't too bad. It was when they were throwing the seafood at me or like, is it tortillas or tortillas? This is the thing.
I say tortillas.
Yeah.
But it's spelt tortilla.
See, I was on air once saying tortillas. We were doing some promotion and I said tortilla 5 times and they were just on there. They were like dying. Going, what are you talking about? But then my wife had said tortillas. So I thought, well, she knows. She's not a food bogan.
Yeah.
I said, you told me it was tortillas. But apparently it's tortillas. But I would say tortillas and then they got me for that one as well. They were tortillas, okay. I think. Yeah. There was a guy at work called Jim who called them jalapenos. Jalapenos.
Okay, yeah.
And he was on air going, jalapenos. Fuck, we laughed. We called him Jalapeno Jim after that.
I was going to test you on this. Oh no, I have got it. I was going to say I was going to test you on this last one, but I couldn't spell it, so I've searched it up.
Is hollandaise sauce. Hollandaise sauce. Yeah.
I say hollandaise.
Did you? Yeah. No.
Hollandaise.
You either know or you don't, eh?
Yeah.
That was when I got done with quesadillas.
Yeah.
It was a quesadillas.
Yeah.
It's not spelt like quesadillas.
Quesadillas. I love that.
And so we'd had them the night before, and I didn't know. I'd forgotten what they were called, so I got my daughter to text me what they were.
Yeah.
And I think it's spelt quesadillas.
Yeah.
I think. And so I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, quesadillas.
Yeah.
And then they just lost it, and it's quesadillas.
No wonder
but
people
I still
can't
didn't.
learn
No
English.
If you'd asked me what a quesadilla is, I wouldn't have had a clue.
Yeah.
But I had to make them. But they just I still don't know what they are. They're like they're toasted sandwich, like they're little things in toasted sandwiches, essentially, aren't they? Like kinda like a roll, kind of like a toasty roll, like a roll, like a wrap that you put shit in, and then fry it. I think that's what they are.
Think of like pita pit.
Yeah, that's
like
it.
That.
Yeah,
close thing I can think of.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I just get. Okay, now how did I say I said it before? Tortillas.
Tortillas. Tortillas.
See?
I think it's definitely it's because I got humiliated by saying tortillas. So from this day on, I know it's tortillas.
Okay, mate. Now, last question, which I always love to ask. Now, think your life up to this point as a movie. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you know, with every good movie, there's a closing scene.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the actor might say a bloody piece of advice, a quote, whatever it is. You know, maybe it's something you want to look back on in the future. Maybe it's for Liv to look back on. You know, something you want people to remember you by, or something you just want to say to the world.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I always say, don't feel rushed, don't feel pressured.
Yeah.
Whatever comes to your head, just say it. You know, this is your final message to the world, Rog.
This is pressure. This is pressure. My final
We have
message.
2 minutes to ad break. Come on. Hurry up. No, take your time, mate.
No, because I've seen without trying to deviate. I've seen this when people leave a radio show, and it's or they leave they might not be leaving radio, but they're leaving the show they've been on.
Yeah,
and there's like 20 people in the studio, and like. So, like Mike Prue, like when he left The Edge, for example.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it on video. And so you have 20 people in the studio. Oh, it's our last break with Mike, and he's leaving. And then it's like 10 to 10 or something. And it's just like, what are you supposed to say? Yeah. It's been...
Cheers.
Yeah, it's, hey, well, whatever you say is wrong. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, it's been great. Thanks for listening over all these years, and see you around. It's like... What do you say? Then I've had people leave on my show so many times, have left. And part of me is going, don't bang on too long because I don't want to be late to news. Stuff like that. So they're like, some of them are like long-winded, or some aren't though.
Fading up the headlines music.
Yeah.
Hurry up, come on. 2 seconds. Okay, bye.
And then it's like, people have their last, what's the last thing I'm going to say on air?
Yeah.
Like, say if I left the rock, what the last thing I'd say? What would it be? What would it be? It would just be, and I'd stuff it up. No matter what, I'd stuff it up. Probably less is more, I'd say. I'd say less is more. Maybe that's what I'd say, less is more.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Chuck that on a T-shirt. Less is more, Roger Farrelly. Okay, then we'll save that for when the time comes. What is the message you have to the world? With all the shit that's going on at the moment.
Don't vote Labour.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's my political message
Look how
to
the
the
last
world.
few years have
That's
gone.
my political message to the world. What's my message to the world? Just use a little bit more common sense in life, I think. Use a little bit more common sense. That's my message to the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Less is more.
Less is more, and use common sense, and things will be a lot easier in life, I think.
I love that. Yeah.
Life will be a lot easier if you use your common sense a bit more. Common sense is not that common these days. Yeah. That's what I find. A lot of complications that can go on. It's just like, no, just make things simple. We're always told that on air.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Kiss. Yeah. Yeah.
I usually don't add messages onto the last message. Well, don't usually add on to it, but that is so true. You know, the modern day life.
It's complicated.
How do we over exaggerate it? How do we make it more complicated than it needs to be?
Yeah, we make everything complicated.
Yeah.
And unnecessarily complicated.
Like spelling quesadillas. Yeah. Like, come on.
We've come full circle.
Love that.
And maybe don't be such a food bogan like me and learn what quesadillas are.
And try mussels before
and try
23 years.
mussels before you're 23.
Yeah. Make sure you have garlic butter, though. Or else they taste like shit.
Yeah, no, definitely garlic butter. Yeah, big fan.
All right, mate. Well, thank you very much for taking the big hike down here for the chat, and it was a bloody good one.
Thanks for asking. I know you've asked me a while ago, but here we are. I've finally made it. So thanks.
Full circle.
Thanks so much. It's been great.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you.
As always, guys, do what makes you happy, do what you know is right, and do what you need to do for you. Love yourself, love those around you, and until next time, stay safe.